Hi, and welcome to week 1 of mindful eating. So, this week we're going to explore the definition of what mindful eating is, and we're going to take one mindful bite of a piece of fruit. So, you'll need some kind of fruit, preferably something that is not processed. A raisin is what is most commonly used, but you can use whatever you have available, whether it's a piece of apple, banana, peach, pear, raisin, whatever you have will work. And so I'll go over the kind of reason why people practice mindful eating and the benefits of it, and what it is and what it is not. And so mindful eating is not about dieting or counting calories or being restrictive with food. It's about changing your relationship to food and what motivates you to eat. So rather than judging yourself and your experience around food, you're developing a compassionate and neutral mind as you engage with whatever meal you are preparing or eating. So I just really want to stress that it is about adopting that gentle and compassionate attitude towards yourself as you are experiencing your relationship with what you eat. And oftentimes we eat mindlessly. So we'll eat while we're driving, talking, watching TV, and oftentimes we find that we are not satisfied by the food and we become hungry pretty quickly, or we don't remember having eaten the food. So for example, I often sit down to watch a movie with a big bowl of popcorn, and I'll look down and the entire bowl is empty, and I don't remember taking one bite because my mind was elsewhere. And so with this practice, it really helps to notice the food and pay attention to the experience of chewing, swallowing, eating, and connecting with our physical sensations of hunger and fullness, and noticing when we eat from a place of emotion versus a place of my body is requiring some kind of food for fuel in that way. So you'll want to begin by just checking in with your physical experience of hunger. So I invite you to close your eyes and just drop into your belly, your digestive organs, and just notice on a level between 1 and 10, 10 being completely full and 1 being very hungry. And wherever you are on that scale, notice. Maybe your stomach is gurgling or growling, or maybe it's extended and full. You're just noticing. And then once you notice your level of hunger, ask yourself what your body is hungry for. Notice maybe if you're thirsty rather than hungry. And you're developing a neutral and curious mind as you witness your physical level of hunger. And then you're going to then take the piece of fruit, and I have a fig for my practice, and you're going to observe it like a curious scientist. So imagining that you've never seen this before and you're just collecting data. So you look at the shape, the form, the color. Is it smooth? Is it rough? You're really just noticing details of the food. Any divots, any odd, irregular patches, and just pay attention to that without so much judging it, but just noticing it. And then you know what the piece of fruit is, so I want you to try to connect with the story behind the piece of fruit. So it had to grow from a seed into a plant, and the plant bore the fruit. So there was sunshine involved, there was rain or water involved, there was dirt, soil, some kind of growing medium. And so all these elements are within the piece of fruit that you're holding in your hand. And then at some point it was plucked or dug up or pulled or taken from the plant and processed in a way. It ended up in a bag or in a crate, on a boat, maybe on a plane, into the store or the farmer's market, where then you purchased it, and then you have it in your hand. And so there's this whole history, this whole life behind the piece of fruit that you're holding. So just see if you can connect with that. And then bringing your senses into this experience. So picking up the piece of fruit and just touching it, feeling it. Is it soft? Is it hard? Is it smooth? Is it sticky? Just noticing what the texture is between your fingers. And then bringing it up to your nose and smelling it. Does it have a smell? Does smelling it make you want it more or less? Does smelling it remind you of anything? And just notice whatever comes up. You're just collecting details. And then you're going to, in a moment, take just a bite-sized piece and place it on your tongue, but you're not going to chew it yet. I'm going to put mine down so I can continue to speak. So I want you to check in once again with where you are, level 1 to 10. How much do you now want this piece of fruit you've examined, smelled, noticed? And you can even engage your sense of sound. Like, does it have a sound? You squish it up against your ear. Just notice that. And so, taking just a small piece and place it on your tongue. You can close your eyes to really engage with it. With it just placed on the tongue, notice if you can taste anything. Notice what your mouth begins to do. If you're salivating, if there's any flavor on the tongue. And then slowly roll it around your tongue. And notice what happens then in your mouth. Notice the movement of the tongue. Notice the piece of fruit as it rolls around. And just really drop in and pay attention to that experience. And then slowly, more slowly than you've ever chewed anything, just begin to slowly chew this piece of fruit, taking a bite. Notice what happens. Notice your jaw as it moves slowly. Notice your teeth and your tongue. Notice your saliva and the flavors bursting in your mouth. And slowly, slowly chewing this piece of fruit. And then whenever you're ready to swallow, notice the movements in the throat as you begin to swallow the piece of fruit. Feel it travel down the back of the throat, down the esophagus, and into your belly. And notice if your mind wants another piece immediately. Notice if you feel satisfied. Just notice whatever your experience is. There's no right or wrong answer. You're just paying attention. Notice any lingering tastes in your mouth, any pieces of fruit stuck between your teeth. And then again, notice on the level between 1 and 10, how satisfied you feel. 10 being full, 1 being you could use another bite. And then opening up your eyes or bringing your attention outward again, just check in with your experience. Whatever it was, letting it be perfectly okay. Notice maybe any judgments that might have come up or any thoughts, and let that be fine. You're just beginning to develop a neutrality and a compassion towards yourself and your experience with food. And the idea is to be able to take 1 mindful bite per meal, but your challenge this week is going to be taking 1 mindful bite per day. So finding a piece of fruit or finding a vegetable, but 1 piece of food that you can practice this with daily. To just begin to connect with the food, connect with your experience of food, connect with the pace in which you want to eat, and just notice whatever comes up. And always remember to be gentle with yourself as you notice.